So, we're going to be reading from In Love at Ease. And it may be a shorter reading because I'm fighting back shivering, and I don't think you want to hear me shiver while I read. Out in the Canadian night. This is a book about everyday spirituality with Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Let's see, where did we stop? Here's where we stopped. In the third chapter of being eyeless, having no big eye, our ego, Swami Sri valued education and set an example as the ideal student. He encouraged sadhus, monks, and young volunteers to share news about governance, political developments, technology, religious communities, philosophy, and the arts, and discoveries in hard science and medicine. Until his very last days in his mortal body, Swami Sri engaged in exercises and improved mental clarity and focus. He sought to maintain his mental sharpness, not for personal gain, but rather to better serve the community and those around him. Swami Sri lived the Vedic mantra, "Let all good thoughts come from..." I don't know why I'll just repeat this. "Let all good thoughts come to me from all directions." The grammar didn't make sense on first glance. Now it makes sense. Let all good thoughts come to me from all directions. The absence of ego enabled him to learn and engage. His eyeless persona touched those around him. Swami Sri taught others to appreciate the greatness of bhaktas, of loving devotees around them. He created a community that was able to serve without allowing their egos and personalities to clash. An eyeless cohort of volunteers and servants who wanted to serve the divine through society and their guru. I landed in Mumbai and wanted to spend a few days with Swami Sri before I moved to Ahmedabad for a few months. This was the first time I was going to live in India for an extended period, but not travel with Swami Sri. Ishwar Charandas Swami asked me to stay in Ahmedabad to create online content for the organization. I went to meet Swami Sri before my flight. I remember the meeting as an emotional farewell between a mother and her child. Swami Sri was sitting up on his couch. "What time is your flight? Did you pack a snack?" I shook my head in silence, but then broke the silence with an emotional, "I will miss you, Swami Sri. This is the first time I am going away." Swami Sri gently caressed my head and softened the look in his face. "Look, Ahmedabad is not far. I am coming to Gujarat in a few weeks. Ishwar Charandas Swami is very loving. He will take care of you, just like I do. Listen to him, learn from him." Swami Sri continued giving me parting words of advice. I was still in a daze. He gently tugged on my hand as if waking me from my reverie. "Listen, Yogi, I want you to bow down to 3 people at Ahmedabad Mandir every morning. Will you do that for me? Remember me when you see them and say, Jai Swami Narayan." I again nodded silently. "Do you know which 3? I assumed he was going to name 3 senior sadhus. Instead, Swami Sri named 3 full-time sevaks, selfless servants. Sanjay Parikh, IIM, also known as Ritesh Gadhia, and Bhabubhai Jhala. These were 3 volunteers who were diligent, quiet sevaks. They have no expectations and live without desire for praise and recognition. I think of their service very often. You should use it as a model when you are continuing to serve society. I was in shock. Why did Swami Sri want me to remember him when I bowed down to these 3 relatively young, unknown volunteers? Swami Sri noticed the surprise on my face. Yogi, to be nirmani, without ego, is one of the hardest spiritual attainments. Respect them and learn from them. Will you? You should leave for the airport soon. Have a ride? I nodded silently for a final time. In addition to living an eyeless life, Swami Sri revered those disciples who followed in his footsteps. By showing me 3 model volunteers walking behind him on the path of humility, Swami Sri directed me to the correct path and even found me appropriate company for the journey. All right, thank you for listening, everyone. We will pause our reading there for now.